And joining us now is Carolee McGrath, a reporter from the television magazine show Reel to Reel. She is talking about her segment on the show, Focus on Life. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
This is great because I have to tell you, I watch Reel to Reel all the time.
Well, you should. That was the right answer.
We were just watching it this morning.
We were. Actually, Father Reed and I were both watching it this morning. And you guys do such a wonderful job. It's clear that you work very, very hard and that you enjoy your work, which just always makes a difference. Well, tell us a little bit about your advocacy for life.
Well, the segment is called Focus on Life, and I used to be a regular reporter. When I say regular, I didn't work in the Catholic media. So I worked in Connecticut, I worked at Fox and ABC, and I had always wanted to speak out for life. But of course, in that venue, you shoot down the middle, which is what your job is. And also, it's one of those conversations that you just don't sort of bring up at a backyard barbecue or in a newsroom. And so I think I had prayed about it for a long time, and the Holy Spirit finally, gave me the push I needed, and I went to Reel, and they were wonderful, and they said, hey, let's do this. And that was 2 years ago, and that's what I've been doing. And I work freelance for them. I've got 4 kids at home as well. They're my first pro-life priority. But I do segments for them, and I just, it's such a godsend. It's a huge blessing in my life.
You mentioned freelance and you mentioned Reel to Reel. I think probably a lot of people watching might not understand the complexity of putting a show like Reel to Reel together. Could you just tell us a little bit behind the scenes?
Sure. Now I work, what I mean by freelance is per diem. So for people who might not understand that. So I'm very part-time, but they have full-time people. It's a regular TV magazine show. They cover all sorts of different Catholic topics, just like you guys do. My segment is specific because I'm always focusing on life, abortion issues, end-of-life issues. That's what my little niche is, but they cover all different Catholic news in the Diocese of Springfield. They do a great job.
How did that happen? When did you, was it as an adult, as a young child, when you said life, the dignity of life, it's so important, it's something I want to talk about. When did that all happen?
I always was pro-life, but I was quiet and I was afraid. And people would say, my favorite comment is, well, you shouldn't be so judgmental and tell people that you're pro-life. And I never knew how to speak up for that. And then finally, I think a lot of prayer, I finally got the courage, and that's what we need. We need courage on this issue. We're talking about the most precious, defenseless, unborn babies. And now that I have 4 of my own, and I've seen all the ultrasounds, it's indisputable that you're talking about a baby. And so it's not always easy. I'm sure people want to throw tomatoes at me sometimes, but I feel like it's the least that I can do.
Not us.
No,
we wouldn't do that.
No tomatoes here, Carolee. No tomatoes.
But it's not an easy issue for anybody.
No, but it's an important issue. I'm thinking of our good friend Richard Brown, who's right over here. His wife's going to have a baby this week, and what a wonderful thing that is, a new life. What a precious gift from God. God doesn't make a mistake. Can you tell us about that video? Because I love those words. God doesn't make a mistake.
Well, I have to do a quick disclaimer. I didn't write the song. A friend of mine, Steve Moser, wrote the song, which I was privileged to sing on. He has a daughter who has Down syndrome, and he has 6 children, and that's his 6th child. And we were talking one day, and he said, would you mind, recording this song for me? And I said, okay. I had no idea what I was getting into. And the song just took off, and it's playing all over the place. And he has it on his website, which is, I think, New Traditions, but it's also on YouTube as well. And her name is Anna. She's a gorgeous little girl, and so I just went along for the ride. I'm just the voice.
Do you find that people will comment when you said it takes courage, and I was quiet? And I think a lot of people like that. Do you find the other side where people will come up to you and say, I agree with you 100%, and I was the same way. I didn't want to say anything.
Yes, and that's what I think is so much fun now, because now I used to have no courage, and now I just will say things just to get a reaction. Oh, I work for the pro-life reporting segment of Reel to Reel, and people are like, but now but sometimes people will say, really? Oh, I'm pro-life too. I just think if the more we talk about it, not in a combative way, but in a loving way, in a charitable way, I think you give courage to others. Or you also open people's eyes. Well, I never really thought about it that way. I didn't realize that. And I think that's, as long as you do it in love and charity, and you let the Holy Spirit, do the work, I think people's hearts will open on that.
Every year, the annual March for Life in Washington, Catholic TV covers that, in particular the youth rally. And I have never been so taken and so moved by anything in terms of pro-life, aside from seeing those young people so strong in their devotion to protecting life. Isn't it important to have young people involved?
Well, I think that's what's going to change it, and I think we're seeing that in the polls. We've never seen polls like this before, where the majority of Americans are now considering themselves pro-life, and those are recent polls by Gallup. And I think what you're seeing is you've got YouTube, you have the internet, you have texting, all of these different things that I never understood. But these kids, they have pictures at their fingertips. They can see ultrasounds, and moving ultrasounds
3D
now.
ultrasounds
3D ultrasounds. I mean, the baby's waving at you. I mean, there's no disputing it. And the kids are smarter than I think the popular culture would like to believe. And they are the ones that are going to change this. And they're the ones who actually have a lot more courage than I ever did, and God bless them for it. So they're giving us courage, which is great.
What are some of the things that people could do to help support pro-life? Is there anything that you've come across?
Well, I think the first thing is prayer. I do. I think hit your knees and pray and pray and pray for the courage, for the words, and for the way. Not everybody is going to go out and open their mouths and do pro-life segments. I happen to be in this business, so it was a good fit, and God knew that, obviously, far before I was born. But there are other ways. You can get involved in campaigns like the 40 Days for Life, which happens in October and during Lent. You can pray in front of clinics. If that's not where you want to be, or you don't have the courage to do that, because that takes a lot of guts. I've done it. I don't enjoy it, but I do it, and I have my rosary beads. But you don't have to do that. You can be involved with the youth. You can be involved in crisis pregnancy centers, donate baby clothes. There's so many ways. Even just like we were discussing before, even just saying, I'm pro-life, just whispering that. The more you do that, I think the more courage you're going to get, and the more people you're going to touch.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. It's been great having you. We love Reel to Reel.
Oh, good.
And if people are watching today and you want to know when Reel to Reel is on Catholic TV, you can just go to our website and search for Reel to Reel, and you'll get the whole schedule. It's on 6 times during the course of the week.
And keep up the great work. How old are your kids?
Now you're testing me.
Yeah, oh yeah.
9, 6, 3, and 10 months.
10 months?
Yes, Mary Catherine.
Well, listen, congratulations. And really, do keep up the good work.
Thank
because
you so much.
Everyone here, we're all with you.
Oh, good. Good, I'm in good company.
And we'll be back with more of This Is the Day after this. And as we go, we'll find out if you know what that riddle is. And when we come back, we'll tell you what it is.